What's going on, guys? Jacoborth back here with another video, Jacob's Life in Vegas. Talk to you guys about a topic here about finding a job in Las Vegas. And this one's for a particular group of people, a small group of people. I've had several people ask me about it. And it is about how to find a job in Las Vegas if you have a felony on your record or if you've had one in the past. So I'll jump into this one. Remember, guys, link down below, JacobslifeinVegas.com is where you can go and get on my email list if you guys want to get more content from me in the future. So I'll jump into this one about finding a job here in Vegas if you do have a felony. I guess it's a small group of people that run into this, fortunately, but I have had several people ask me nonetheless. And I don't know exactly how this is going to affect you. I can give you guys some general ideas and tips. I'm no expert on this one. I have worked with some people who had felonies before on their records, so well, here's what I'll give you guys, just some general rundown of it. Obviously, if you have a felony on your record and you're looking to find employment here in Las Vegas or Henderson or North Las Vegas or anywhere in the Southern Nevada area, it's going to have an effect, or I should say it can have an effect. Certain jobs, it's not a big deal if you do have the felony on your record. Like, obviously, you're going to be doing any kind of like manual labor type job, physical labor, construction, painting, jobs like that, it's usually not a big deal. However, certain jobs you're going to definitely be disqualified from, like if you're going to be trying to work with kids or elderly, that's probably not going to happen. If you're trying to get into any of the big hotels and casinos, that's probably not going to happen either, because those are very corporate. They definitely do run background checks. I mean, those are very thorough. They do a background check, they drug test you. You have to have several work cards in place, which includes going through the sheriff's card, which means you have to have a background check for that as well. So, it's going to be a tougher process. If you've got that felony on your record, it's hard and you probably won't be able to do it. You're not totally out of luck though, so you're not entirely screwed if you don't have that. Because I've met one guy the one time I was at work at my job, and he's a bartender. He was bartending out in, at a spot actually in Henderson, bartending at a spot in Henderson, and it was a local bar. And he did have to get the TAM card and the health card, or the food handler's card they call it now. He had to get those two cards, but he didn't have to get a sheriff's card. So he did not have to get a sheriff's card, so he didn't have to go through that background check. He didn't say if he told his employer or not if he had the felony on his record. He didn't tell me what it was, but nonetheless he was able to get a bartending job, off the strip in a local spot with that felony on his record. He was a young guy, and he was still able to get a job with that felony. One person before I knew who had a felony actually for distributing drugs actually within a certain distance of a school. So actually did time in a state prison, and they were able to get a job working like as a cashier at a nightlife place. So for nightlife, doing a cashier job, and maybe depending on what the offense is, might not be a huge deal either. So, it's going to depend on the establishment, probably going to depend on the nature of the job itself, and, maybe what your felony was for. So, that person was still able to get a job working as a cashier. I don't know how it, they did their time, they're done. So I don't know how it affects, their record today, or if it'll ever come off, or what the deal is. But, they were able to get a job and make a pretty good income doing it. There was one other person who I'd worked with before who, don't know their actual record, but had been to prison, had talked about being in prison before, and I don't know how much time they did in prison, but they talked about their time in prison. They talked about in a gang they were in for a while, and they were out of the gang now, and they were working like security, like host position at a club, in strip clubs and gentlemen's clubs. This person, I don't think, had ever done nightclubs before. So big nightclubs are usually in the hotels and casinos. So if you're trying to get a security job in one of those with a felony, might be a tough gig, because they got to go through the casino usually if they're going to be hiring you. But then again, some other club or someplace off the strip might not be such a big deal for me doing security work. So, those are the things I'll say. Obviously, if you have that on your record, it is tough, because it's there, right? It's noticed, and a lot of employers are probably not going to want to deal with that. They're going to see it as a liability. But you're still able to get certain jobs, and sometimes you can still get a pretty decent job. Two things I will say for a bit of advice: when you are interviewing with a potential employer, I do not recommend lying to them and telling them you don't have a felony, or telling them you don't have anything if you do. Okay? Because say it's for a job and you don't even need to get the sheriff's card for that background check for the job. The employer can still run their own background check, and companies do it. They run a background check all the time on people. Some places do, just no matter what, as part of their policy. So even if you don't need a sheriff's card to work there, the employer itself may still run a background check, and if you lie and say you didn't have anything on your record and you do, then obviously you're screwed and you're not going to get the job. So you're going to tell them the truth is what I would recommend about your felony. And when you go ahead and do that, the thing you want to say, don't just leave it at that. Don't just say, okay, I did this, or this is on my record, and like, yeah, I did, and just shrug your shoulders and it's like, oh, okay, that's it. Okay, don't do that. Right? What you want to say is you want to tell them the truth again, which the truth is you screwed up when you were younger, right? You screwed up years ago in your past. You know, if you want to tell them what the nature of it was, you know, that's fine. Say you did get a felony for, you know, you were selling drugs or whatever, and you did time for it, and, you know, you say, hey, yeah, I have a felony from, you know, back when I was younger, I made a stupid mistake, you know, I was selling these drugs and I got caught, you know, I did do some time, I got in trouble, I got this, I got whatever, and you know what, that was my wake-up call, right? I mean, I was hard-headed, I got smacked in the head, I needed a wake-up call, I needed to straighten out, I was in a tough spot, I needed money, that's why I did it, you know, now I've saved up money, you know, I left, I moved here to Vegas, I'm trying to find a job now, I'm trying to find as much work as I can, you know, tell them that's like, you learned, you screwed up, you learned from it, and now you're moving towards something else. You know, so say you come here and now you're like, hey, you tell your employer, you know what, in 3 years I'm actually trying to save 50 grand because I want to buy a home. You know, nobody in my family's ever bought a home. I don't ever want to have to worry about not having a roof over my head, so I don't get back in that bad position again like I was before. You know, my goal in 3 years is to be able to buy a home, and I want to put 40 grand or 50 grand down. You know, you show them you screwed up, you show them you learned from it, and then you show them that you're working towards something else better. That makes you stand out way more and gives them way more confidence in you, instead of you just saying, oh yeah, I got a felony for this, and, you know, and that's it. Okay? The truth is you're trying to get a job because you want to improve your life. You don't want to wind up being homeless. You don't want to wind up just being a mediocre person. Okay? Felony or no felony, you're going to get the job because you have some goal you're aiming for, and you want to let them know that. So you want to show them that. So I would do that. I would say, hey, yep, I screwed up. I did this. You know, that was years ago. I've paid my price for it. Now I'm moving in a different direction, and, you know, that's where I want to go. This is my goal. My goal is this. My goal is this. My goal is this. Tell them that. Let it fly. Let the chips fall where they may, and you did your part. You know, you told them the truth about it, and you told them the truth about what you're trying to do in the future. So, you know, as far as like any specific job, I can't tell you exactly what jobs will and won't disqualify you because of, you know, your past record. You know, if you have any kind of criminal history or anything like that, I can't tell you exactly what will disqualify you from any particular job. You're gonna have to just go through it yourself and find out. But those are some general ideas to give you a little bit of direction, and then just some tips to try to help you improve your chance of still getting a job even with that, you know, record that you have. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I'm Jacob. This is My Life in Vegas.